Do you have doubts about submitting your adjustment of status package? Do you want to save time and money to make sure you get it done right the first time? Well, in this video, I'm going to be providing you with 10 tips to help you adjust your status successfully. Hi, I'm Jason Calderon from Calderon Law Office PC. I'm an immigration attorney here in New York City, and my office is located in Lower Manhattan. In this channel, my goal is to provide you with the latest immigration news, as well as tips and resources to help you with your immigration journey. If that sounds interesting to you or someone you know, please click the like button, share, subscribe, and turn on your bell notifications because I have a lot of content to share with you all. Let's get started. This is a continuation of my Adjustment of Status series. So far, we've discussed adjusting your status after overstaying a non-immigrant visa, as well as an overview of eligibility and inadmissibility categories. I'm going to be posting the links to those videos down below. In this video, I want to focus on 10 essential tips to adjusting your status successfully based off of marriage to a U.S. citizen. Tip number 1, submit your paperwork as soon as you're married. I'm often asked, how long do I have to wait after I get married to file my paperwork? The answer is, you just have to wait for your marriage certificate. As long as you have sufficient evidence to prove that your marriage is authentic, you don't have to wait a certain amount of time. The idea is to have USCIS without a doubt that your marriage is authentic and that wasn't entered into for immigration benefits. It's important to know, however, that if your adjustment of status application is adjudicated before you reach 2 years of marriage, you're going to receive what's called a conditional green card, which is valid for 2 years, as opposed to a green card without any conditions that's valid for 10 years. I'm going to be posting a separate video on removing conditions to a conditional green card, so stay tuned for that. Tip number 2. Going back to supporting evidence, always submit more evidence than you think is necessary. The idea is to leave USCIS without a doubt that your marriage is authentic and that it wasn't entered into for immigration benefits. So how do you do this, especially when your marriage is new and you may not have so many joint marriage documents such as utility bills or bank statements with both your names on it? Well, you can start from the beginning of the relationship. The idea is to document the relationship and its involvement from friendship to a romantic phase to the eventual marriage. And this can be done, among other things, with photographs, also notarized good faith marriage affidavits. The best affidavits come from people who've known you for a while, especially U.S. citizens or lawful permanent residents, and who can attest to how they know you and why they feel your marriage is authentic. On to tip number 3. This is a tip I mentioned in my last video, but I feel because of the benefits, it's very important to know. Budget permitting, I recommend filing the entire adjustment of status package together, including Forms I-130, Petition for Alien Relative, Form I-485, Application to Register Permanent Residence or Adjust Status, Form I-765, Application for Employment Authorization, Form I-131, Application for Travel Document, and Form I-864, Affidavit of Support. I say budget permitting because at the time of filming this video, you're going to submit filing fees totaling $1,760. That's $535 for the Form I-130 Petition for Alien Relative and $1,225 for the Form I-485 Application to Register Permanent Residence or Adjust Status. This is not an inexpensive process, but it's a process that can take several months. And if you submit the other forms that I mentioned, you're eligible for employment authorization as well as permission to re-enter the country after travel abroad while your applications are pending. Tip number 4, always check the USCIS website to make sure you're using the latest edition of the forms. This is very important. You want to log on. Once you find the form, scroll down to edition date and make sure that date corresponds with the date on the lower left-hand corner of the form you're using. That brings me to tip number 5. While you're on the USCIS website, making sure you have the latest edition date for the forms you're using, you want to look at 2 other things. So this is actually a 2-for-1 tip, and you want to make sure that the address where you're mailing everything to hasn't changed, and you want to make sure that the filing fee hasn't changed. These are 2 things that can actually change without notice, and if you send the wrong filing fee or if you mail it to the wrong address, your whole package can be returned to you, and this is going to cost you time and money. So avoid any surprises and make sure you look for accurate edition date, but also filing fee and where to mail the items. Tip number 6. Remember that any document you submit that's not in English needs to be accompanied by a certified translation. And what does certified mean? It means that the person who translated it needs to include a brief statement stating that they're competent to translate from whatever language to English, and that what they have translated is accurate. And of course, they have to include their signature. This is a small detail, but it's something that often gets overlooked and can cause your package to be returned to you, or it could result in what's called an RFE, a request for evidence, if you don't do it the right way. So, avoid spending more money and, more importantly, more time. Make sure you get it done right the first time. Tip number 7. There are several ways to pay the filing fees when you send your applications in, and this includes by sending a money order, a cashier's check, a personal check, or you can even fill out a form and pay by credit card. I recommend sending a check with your paperwork, and this allows you the opportunity to check your accounts and to see when the check is deposited. See, USCIS usually takes between 3 to 4 weeks to send you a receipt notice saying that they received your papers, and this receipt notice has your case number and it tells you that your applications are being processed. But they usually cash the check within a week. So a week after sending your papers, if you see that they cashed the check, that means that everything is going well and your case is being processed. And this just provides you with a couple extra weeks of peace of mind. Tip number 8, make copies of everything you submit to USCIS. There's going to come a time where you're going to be asked questions from those forms that you submitted. So you're going to want to know what those questions are and how you answer them. Stay tuned for upcoming videos on adjustment of status interviews, as well as how to submit a FOIA request. These requests allow you to receive your entire immigration records from USCIS in case you forgot to make copies. Tip number 9. You want to be able to track the package that you mail, so be sure to get a tracking number. I like to use the United States Postal Service Priority Mail, the red and white envelopes. They usually cost about $15 and take anywhere from 3 to 4 days to arrive, and they provide you with a tracking number. There's always Priority Mail Express, which also gives you a tracking number and is a little quicker, usually 1 to 2 days. Obviously it's more expensive. The idea is to get a tracking number. You just want to verify that your package was received. And that brings me to tip number 10. This process can be overwhelming and each case is different. If you need help with these applications, I recommend staying away from multi-service offices or notarios. Oftentimes they just submit your applications with a marriage certificate and tell you to deal with everything at the interview. I always recommend speaking to an experienced immigration attorney. If you need help with adjustment of status or any other family-based immigration issues, feel free to call or email me. I'd love to schedule a consultation, whether in person or virtually. That's all for today. Please remember to click the like button, share, subscribe, and turn on your bell notifications to be alerted when I have new content. Until next time.